Lesson number 3, guilds and unions, and also low budget. And what really is low budget, and what are the rules and regulations with guilds and unions, because your first feature film shoot is going to be low budget. And the truth is, it's going to be no budget. But let's get down to low budget. Lesson number 3, and guilds and unions. First off, remember 2 lessons ago when I started screaming about Hollywood markets, names and budgets, names and budgets? And every feature film you've ever read about, you've been told the budget, you've been told the budget. Does anybody know any other industry in the world where the manufacturer tells the consumer what it costs to manufacture their product? Anybody know any other industry manufacturing something that we tell the consumer what it costs to manufacture the product? It's none of your business. In Hollywood, we tell you the budget of our films. Does anybody here actually think we've ever told you the truth? I hope you're not that naive. And the only person that knows any budget of any film is the IRS and one accountant. But here's the budgets. There are 4 budgets that Hollywood markets. Your film is going to be one of these 4 budgets. One of those 4 budgets. Here are the 4 budgets. Budget number 1, the mega budget. The super most expensive film in the history of the world ever made. You think you're making that on your first feature film? Hollywood's always doing this, and we're always telling you we're never going to do it again, and next summer we do it again, don't we? And then we tell you we're never going to do it again, then we do it again next summer. Here's why. Distributors found out that nobody cares who manufactures the film, who distributes the film. Every other industry, you care about who the manufacturer is, or the distributor. You want to go buy a coffee brewing machine? I bet you go to Macy's and you think Krupp's or Braun. That manufacturer sort of has a value. Let's go into distributors. Anybody tonight thinking about going to see a film, but you only want to see a Paramount film? No, I feel like we saw Paramount last week, hon. I feel like a Warner Brothers film this weekend. No, I'm up for MGM UA, and I feel like one of theirs. You're getting the point? Distributors don't market their names because you don't care. Go look at any ad. Here's the biggest concept I'll tell you about the film industry, film marketing. Here's the bottom line, and it's real simple. We make a film, we put out the P&A, those ads, now it becomes a movie. Key word is the difference between the word film and movie. You've made films. Nobody buys films, sorry. People want movies. When does a film become a movie? When it's in a movie theater, paying admission. When it's a movie theater, there are newspaper ads. When you guys pick up the newspaper and see an ad, it's a movie. What you don't realize you're doing, it now has a subliminal dollar value. It's $10 or $9. That's the value. 19 out of 20 of you won't go, but it has a value now. What the industry is all about is about this smokescreen with all creating an event and the P&A money, creating the smokescreen that you think it's worth $10, and then 6 months later we cash in what's called the third window, which will get around lesson 9 or 10, the video, DVD, or pay cable sale. But first we got to teach you it's worth $10. You probably won't go, and the one of you that goes will criticize it. But then 6 months later, the third window, we sell it to the video distributor, puts it in Blockbuster, and of the 19 out of 20 that didn't go see it, 17 out of 19 of you will rent it at $3. We taught you it's worth 10, then we put it on sale, and cash in at 3. And that's where the decadence is. And now we're selling DVDs at $14.95, $19.95 instead of rentals that we're only getting $3 for. It's decadence. That's the smokescreen that we're all about. It's not that difficult, guys. But you got to get a product that gets to the third window. And you got to get that distributor with the P&A money. Let them have the theatrical window. Let them have the web. Let them have the airlines. Let them have pay-per-view, video on demand, SVOD. You keep the third window. By the way, it's not going to be easy to get that deal. That's what Hollywood's about. This smokescreen of creating a budget that really the newspaper ads that you now think it's a movie. You saw the ad. It's worth $10. That's the price to go to the theater. Most of you won't go see it, but you'll rent it now. If we didn't take the ads out, you never knew about it, I doubt any of you would rent it if we put the box out there. And that's it. That's our smokescreen. We're all about, every industry, it's the same. Advertise, promote, then about 6 months later, cash in. Now, we're one of those rare industries that we can actually get some revenue while we're advertising and promoting, creating the perceived value, and then cashing in 6 months later. So it's a double for us. Anyway, there are 4 budgets in the movie industry. Your film is going to be one of those 4 budgets. Budget number 1, the mega budget, the super most expensive film in the history of the world ever made. It used to be 50 million, then 100 million, then 200 million. You know, in a couple of years, get ready for the $500 million budget. But Hollywood's going to say, we got to be more cost effective. We're never going to do it again. Here's the reason they do it, and it makes sense. If some distributor just manufactures a product that in their marketing fluff phase, they created the image that it's the most expensive film in the history of the world ever made, you'll go see it. You saw Titanic, you saw Pearl Harbor, you probably even saw Waterworld, and you won't like it. And you'll criticize the story, and we made a killing. We created a smokescreen, an event. It's the most expensive film. Not one of you, and don't give me this drivel about story, although I'll talk about story. Titanic. Anybody go see it not knowing the boat sinks? It sunk. Was that a plot twist? Pearl Harbor. They attacked. It was on Sunday while we were in church. What a twist. And then you have the audacity to talk to me about the love story. I don't care about that. And by the way, we gave you great production value on every frame. And don't criticize it. By the way, that's why Hollywood does those things. Those big budgets, and they're going to keep throwing that big number out there, but it's not a thing. What I'm starting to teach you, there are 2 budgets associated with every film. The marketing budget, which is all you've ever read about, which I've already told you 80 to 90% of the time is grossly inflated 600 to 800%. This budget. Let's go Jurassic Park, 1 location shoot. It's a little bit more than 1 location. It was a decent budget. Laura Dern, Sam Neill, that actor Goldblum, what do you think they cost? And 4 other kids, nobodies. And they're still looking for jobs, those others. And they were, I'm sure, paid SAG minimum. And don't dazzle me by telling me, oh, special effects. We know what they cost. They're affordable and controllable. It's like saying I built a building and had windows in it. Yeah, it costs a little more to put a window in there. It's about it. We can afford it. Anyway, here's the point. Hollywood's going to keep doing these films, their movies. This is not your budget for your first film, but you understand their game. Budget number 2 is what I call the 2-number budget. It's always got 2 numbers in it, or it's got a hyphen or a dash in it. When you read about the budget and they tell you the budget was 50 to 70 million, 30 to 50 million, 20 to 30 million, 15 to 20 million, 12 to 15, 10 to 12, 7 to 10, 5 to 7, 3 to 5, 2 to 3, 1 to 2. We're a real intelligent industry. We're loaded with attorneys and accountants, and not one of us is creative, and we know what everything costs. We're not stupid. The budget on this one was 7 to 10 million. You read about that. Hey, Murray. Hey, Saul. There was 3 million. It was here yesterday. Did you see it? What drawer is it in? It's 7 to 10 million. We know the exact penny. Now, here's why we do the 7 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 20. It's like we're stretching it, making it a bigger number, which maybe incites you, the consumer, into maybe leaving your house and giving us $10 that we split with the theater owner. After being in the industry making films for a while as a line producer, production manager, I eventually found out there are 2 budgets associated with every product. There's that one budget that you've read about, which is what Hollywood tells you it costs, which really is inflated. It's a fabrication. It's marketing. We don't lie. We mark it. And then there's the real cash budget of what it really costs, which we technically call the negative cost of manufacturing the film. And I always wanted to find out what's the real cost. And nobody would tell me. And I'm a little bit inside the industry. Finally, here's the rule I came up with. When you read about a feature film, it's a $7 to $10 million budget, and you really want to know what it really cost, not this fluff stuff, take the lower number, half it, and subtract $1 million. So if you want to make a $7 to $10 million feature, you'll make it for a little more than $2 million in cash. Do you know if you had $2.5 million in cash, you know how much money that is? That's a massive amount of cash. For $2.5 million, you could do a 5-week shoot. You can hire 50 crew people, pay them $1,000 a week or $2,000 a week, that's $500,000. Hire 3 cameras, 150,000 feet of film and all the equipment you want. Put $100,000 for stunts, $100,000 for effects. Above the line, I'll give you $50 or $100,000, or Writers Guild minimum, or 110% of scale for your script, and you'll be happy. Actor number 1, I need you for 3 weeks of the 5-week shoot. I'll give you $1 million. Does anybody in this room know more than 10 actors in the world that'll say no to a check for $1 million for 3 weeks? And I got an actor, by the way, which I'll teach you later on, that's a movie actor, not a TV actor. You're going to learn that concept about 8 lessons from now. I'm hiring a movie actor who's only in movies. You want to look at him? It costs $8 to $10 to look at their face. Then I'll hire 3 or 4 other actors, actors numbers 3, 4, and 5, that, on Becker or West Wing or whatever series is around, who you know their face and they're making good money being on TV, but you don't know who they are and they want to be in a movie. And I pay them 1/5 to 1/10 of what they get paid to be on a TV show. And I'll pay each of them $20,000, $30,000 a week. They're not going to say no. So I got a feature film with a movie name in it, 3 big TV names in it. Maybe I'll put in a singer. Maybe I'll put in a jock. And I still got about $500,000 to $700,000 left over for post and score. What do you want to call the budget? 3 to 5 million? 5 to 7? 7 to 10? Why not call it 10 to 12? Call it 12 to 15. You got my permission. 15 to 20. Whatever you want to do. It's America. Have a good time. And then you always put in the phrase, just under. What's the budget? Everything is just under, just under. Get ready. That's a budget. That's a very common budget. By the way, none of you are starting your career with a just under $2 to $3 million feature or 3 to 5. So it's nice information wasn't relevant to you. And none of you are starting your career with this budget up here either. Let's get down to the real budgets that you're starting at. I'd say 1 out of 10 of you in the class will start with what's called a $1 million feature. That's a standard budget. $1 million feature. I used to, as a line producer, work on $1 million features. But what I found about is the $1 million feature that I work on, I never had more than $180,000 to make it. Duh. The marketing budget and then the real negative cost. So really what I'm letting you know is $1 million features are made for $200,000 to $300,000. That was 15 years ago. Today maybe it's $300,000 to $400,000. That's the negative cost. And I think there are a couple of you in this room that can do a limited liability company, sell units, get a group of investors together at $20,000 to $30,000 each and come up with $200,000, $300,000. And what you're going to do is the 35 millimeter film, 3-week shoot on a 6 to 8 to 1 shooting ratio, working with 1 guild SAG on probably a limited exhibition agreement, and you'll be shooting $1 million feature. And if anybody asks you the budget, you'll play Hollywood now. It's just under $1 million. So 1 out of 10 of you in this room is going to do $1 million feature. And on the next lesson, we're going to start putting in the numbers, but how to make it for $200,000 to $300,000. Where are most of you? Most of you can't come up with $200,000 to $300,000. Most of you can barely afford the $399 to be sitting in this class right now. So where are you going to start your career? $5,000? $18,000, $20,000. So budget number 4, which we used to call the ultra low budget feature, or the no budget feature, or the micro budget feature. Sometimes it was a 16 millimeter shoot. Sometimes we used to call it the guerrilla feature. Now people think to legitimize it and they call it a digital feature. I'm shooting digitally. and that you throw that word in there like it's going to dazzle people. Digital, it's tape. Tape is tape and film is film. There's only one way to make film look like film. It's by film. You shoot in tape and transfer it to film. It's tape on film. It's on film, but it looks like tape with a bunch of lines and dots. And when we project it 300 feet, believe me, the lines and dots get blurry. But the bottom line is, how much money do you have? And most nobody first-timers only have 4,000, 5,000, 18,000, 37,000. Then, of course, you're going to shoot tape. And what format tape? Digital video. But what format digital video? Probably mini DV. And you're going to do this. So now I got you grounded. We're going to get into the subject guilds and unions making one of either of these two features. We're going to start with the $1 million feature, but I'm going to show you how to make it for 200 to 300,000. Show you how to make it for 200 to 300,000. Let's take out your workbook. Let's take a look at budgets. Go to first budget I ever did in my life, go to page 34. That was for a guy, Roger Corman. Page 34. I got hired by Mr. Corman. I got called on Monday. He needed a line producer for next Monday to shoot a feature film. I met him on Tuesday for about 5 minutes. He said, Dov, we're shooting a feature film. You'll have $100,000. It's 35 millimeter, and I'll give you 40,000 feet of film. Can you make the movie? Oh, by the way, the script hasn't been written yet. You should get it on Saturday. Sure, no problem, Roger. So he slid a piece of paper to me and said, how are you going to spend the money? And I took this little blank piece of paper, and on page 34, I penciled it out. And he saw, I knew how to get a crew together. I knew how to hire a cinematographer, what to pay. I know what sound costs. I know what light costs. I know what film costs, what lab costs. This budget was okay for him, who's made 500 to 1,000 features. Now, what are you going to do? This doesn't look scientific, does it? So here's what you're going to do. Go to the next page. See the budget typed in. It's called A Good Little Film. I took a blank budget package. I took the first page, and I typed in a budget for $100,000. There, I did a $100,000 budget for you. There it is. Type it in. White out the title, put in the name, your name. Go to a dentist and say, give me the money. Now it looks official, doesn't it? Turn to the next page. You don't want to do 100,000? There's 200,000. For here, you got to go to a bunch of dentists. White out the title, type it in. Our worksheet for the rest of today is go to the next page that has the title, The $1 Million Feature. The $1 Million Feature. What I'm going to do is show you how to make a $1 million feature. But how to make a $1 million feature spending $200,000 to $300,000. Spending $200,000 to $300,000. Here's our worksheet for the rest of today. There's our worksheet. When you make a feature film from beginning to end, these are about the basic 38 line items. I call them the 38 steps of filmmaking. There are two ways of doing a budget, the right way and the wrong way. The right way will get you nowhere. The right way is that UCLA, USC, NYU, 4-year theory-laden film school way of learning how to do everything the right way, assuming everything in the universe is available to you whenever you want it. Now go get your script, get the 30, 50-page budget, and fill it in the right way, the right way. And you're going to come up with a budget of anywhere from $1.5 to $50 million. And you did it the right way. Now tell me somebody in the world stupid enough to give you the check. But you did it the right way, and watch how you go into a dead end. Most of you have been doing that the right way. Now let's try it my way, the wrong way. And watch how you start a career in 3 months. Watch. You ready? Here's how we do a budget. Here's how you do a budget. Hi, do you have a checkbook? Do you have a checkbook? You married? You have no excuse then. No children anywhere in the world? Do you believe in yourself? Yes. That's your budget. He's got the money. What's he waiting for? Go get a script you can handle. Now let me show you how to write the 38 checks and squeeze it into that amount. Epiphany? Moment of clarity for all of you? You got to get the great script, a lot of work and talent. Each of you, and you know it's not that big money. The problem with first-timers that never become first-timers, they keep thinking low budget is $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. To the studio system it is. You're not in the studio system yet. You got to get your calling card to get in there, and the calling card better be great, and great comes down to what's the script. And you know what you got in your checkbook, your banking account, whatever. It's $4,000, $5,000, $25,000, $18,000. You know what, if your parents are rich, instead of sending you for $100,000 to 4 years of school, let them give you the check to make a feature film. I think you'll learn more by the School of Hard Knocks, spending the money making a film, than getting all this theory. And by the way, if your parents aren't rich, hi, you have a dentist?
Yes.
You know how much money you've given him or her?
Yes.
Why don't you ask him to be your executive producer? You're cute. Do you have the script? Do you think he's ever been asked to be an executive producer?
No.
Does he have an accountant?
I'm sure he does.
Find out who his accountant is. That accountant represents 20 doctors, dentists. What do you think the life of the accountant is? Why don't you ask him or her to be your executive producer? He or she knows 20, 30. See what I'm doing? Ah, the guy makes sense, son of a gun. Anyway, let's get into now, we're starting to roll now. Let's get into some dollars. We're going to make your first feature film, and your first feature film is going to be either a budget that's called $1 million feature, but you're going to make it for $200,000 to $300,000 in cash, or you're going to make a no-budget guerrilla feature, which you'll probably call a digital feature, for $5,000, $20,000, $50,000, $70,000. And let me show you how to write those 38 chicks. What we're going to do now, the first lesson we're in now, is we're going to go above the line. When you look at a budget, you always see about 1/6 the way down the page a thick line. And some people say, what's the above the line cost? That's your creative talent people, writers, producers, directors, actors. Then the below the line, film, technician, crew, post-production, editing. Above the line, below the line. Subject right now is guilds and unions. There are 3 guilds and 1 union. And in workbooks now, which will be different from the video, for the classroom workbook, turn to pages 14 to 16. You are going to be working with or not working with, in America, 3 guilds and 1 union, 4 entities. 1, the Writers Guild, 2, the Directors Guild, 3, the Screen Actors Guild, 4, the union below the line is IATSE. Now on pages 14, 14A, 15, I've got a lot of different organizations for you, but I put boxes around the 3 guilds and the 1 union. And they have the East Coast and West Coast office. What you're to do is pick up the phone now, call those 3 guilds and 1 union. The Writers Guild, the Directors Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, and IATSE. Call them and ask for 3 things. 1, you want the basic contract. Each guild or union has something they want you to sign. They're all different. It'll be 2 to 3 pages long, double-spaced typing. It'll be very easy to read. The Writers Guild has something they want you to sign, the Directors Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, etc. Get the contract. Don't sign it. You'll find out when you call up to get the contract, they don't like to send it to you. What? You don't like to send it to me? Oh, but you'll set up a meeting 3 weeks from now that I can come into Guild to see if I qualify? I'm the producer. What do I got to qualify for? I got the money. I'm spending it. You come to my house, Guild. I don't need any attitude. Your job, call the 3 guilds and the 1 union. There are 4 different entities. There are the addresses. From each one, get the contract. First thing you're going to find out is they won't send it. They like to, in a little way, bluff, intimidate you to come in to see if you qualify. What do you got to qualify for? And then you sort of intimidated to sign it right then and there without reading it. Or you peruse it. And in that 2 or 3 page contract, it states you agree to adhere to the rules and regulations of that guild. You agree. Do you hear the words? Agree to adhere to the rules and regulations of that guild. Do any of you know the rules and regulations of that guild? No. But you just agreed to it. So the second thing you get before you sign for the contract, but get the contract, and it'll take a while for you to get it because they don't like to send it to you, but you'll get it, is get the rule and rate book of each guild or union. to find out if you do sign what you're agreeing to. Then the third thing to get from each guild and union is get their low budget agreement. Each guild has a low budget agreement. Remember, these are 4 separate entities, 3 guilds and 1 union. They have nothing to do with each other. They don't even like each other. Matter of fact, the Writers Guild doesn't even like themselves. There's the Writers Guild East, the Writers Guild West, and actors, they don't seem to like themselves. Oh, you're SAG, oh, you're AFTRA, oh, you're East Coast, oh, you're West Coast, oh, shut up. Get the contracts, get the rules and regulations, and get what they call their individual low budget agreements. Now, let's find out what low budget is. Let's take a look at the Writers Guild. Writers Guild calls low budget, your workbook, the next page where there's some numbers. I sort of cherry-picked the numbers. The Writers Guild calls low budget anything under $2.5 million. We qualify! Isn't that wonderful? Sign the contract. You know what you just agreed to? You agreed to hire a writer for treatment in 2 drafts. And take a look at the column that says low. Take a look at the column there that says low. That's the minimum, the cheapest you can pay. You can't pay less. If you pay less, they are allowed to put a lien on your negative. Read the rules. You created an Achilles heel. Now, you see what that is for treatment? You agreed to hire a writer for a treatment in 2 drafts. The treatment's like $19,000, the next one's $17,000 for the first draft. And the second draft, if it is the final draft, it's called the final draft, is like another $12,000. Add up those 3 numbers. You come up to $45,000 to $50,000. Add on pension, health, welfare, vacation. Add on 10% for an agent. Go ahead. Here's the number you're going to come up with. $50,000 to $60,000. Is that in your budget? That's not in your budget. So I don't care if they have a low budget agreement. Let's go Roger Corman. Let's go the kids at Trauma. Let's go Mike Herb. They shoot 5 to 20 feature films a year. Think they sign with Writers Guild? They're not hiding. There's their office. Do you see the Writers Guild outside picketing? So why are you being intimidated? Stop it. Here's what you can afford. And by the way, here's what a lot of times they pay. They usually pay $7,000 to $10,000 for 2 drafts to hire a writer. Do you hear the key phrase, hire a writer, $7,000 to $10,000? What's a writer? A writer is somebody that has written at least 2 novels that have been published and aren't Vanity Press publishing. There are Harper, Atheneum, Knopf, Random House, Simon & Schuster, William Morrow Publishing. Corman and these producers, anytime they want, have a Rolodex with about 100 literary agents from Manhattan that can have probably about a list of 2,000 writers that have written a couple of novels that aren't on the remainder table at Barnes & Noble, that have proven they could type a whole lot, and anytime they want, they can hire them for $1,000 a week for 2 drafts. First draft, 5 weeks, $5,000. Second draft, 3 weeks, $3,000. That's $8,000. Now, what about hiring you that hasn't written 2 novels yet that have been published? What are you going to pay? I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm trying to make you into good producer business people. So you get away from all this 6-figure, 7-figure dribble. You stop thinking you have to do this stuff. And you keep seeing these other people that don't seem to be doing it, and they never seem to get in trouble, and there is no trouble. This is America. You can hire whoever you want to hire whenever you want to hire them. The only rules are minimum wage and workers' compensation. And if your product's good enough, a distributor will pick it up. Even if it's not good, but they think an audience will come, they'll pick it up. That's the bottom line. So right now, writer for hire, $7,000 to $10,000. I think on your budget, you can't afford that. So writer for hire, $5,000 to $7,000. And I don't care if that writer that I'm about to hire is in the Writers Guild. That's not my problem. That's that typist's concern, but it's not my problem. But my problem is to find the excellent writer that has a gift of dialogue and understands storytelling. And then I put him or her on a structure of 2 drafts in about a 2-month period of time. The first draft, 5 weeks, and whatever I think I can afford to pay, $400,000, $500,000 a week. That's the Writers Guild, guys. Now let's get into the Directors Guild. The Directors Guild used to call low budget anything under $500,000. Then about a year ago, they bumped it up to 1.2 mil. And now they're talking about they're coming up with a new one, but I haven't seen any typing yet, but they keep talking about it. But let's take a look. We qualify in this budget for Directors Guild low budget. Now take a look at, you are now allowed to hire a director who's in the Directors Guild, but it says here's the minimum you can pay per week. And it was, which is probably still now, a little more than $7,000 per week. But read the rules. Minimum, 10-week hire. I don't care if you're a 2-week shoot. Minimum, 10-week hire. If you know how to argue and complain, you might get away with negotiating a minimum 8-week hire with the Guild. So let's say minimum 10-week hire, $7,000 a week. You're only working for 2 weeks and a little pre-production time, but you got to pay for 10. And if you don't pay for 10, they're putting a lien on your negative. That's $70,000. And when you sign with the Directors Guild, you got to hire the assistant director and the production manager, and then the Directors Guild. And at low budget minimum, we come out to $3,000 to $4,000 per week. So let's multiply 10 weeks times the director's salary, 10 weeks times the AD's salary, 10 weeks times the production manager's salary at the absolute lowest. And you're going to come up with $120,000, $130,000. Now add on pension, health, welfare, vacation. Now add on 10% for an agent. Here's the number you're going to come up with. It's like $120,000 to $160,000. You're not paying that. Nobody's paying that, except within the Hollywood system. That's Directors Guild. This is my opinion. I'm not right. It is an absolute disgrace how much credit directors get for making a feature film. It is a total travesty that the world and the media is so skewed to kissing butt with directors that the day after this film is done, who's going to be on the Charlie Rose show being interviewed? The director. Who's going to be with Katie Couric? The director. Who deserves much more credit than that should be the writer, then the actors, then the cinematographer, then the production designer, then the film editor, then the sound editor, then the music composer, then the director. If you've ever been around, you see what a director does when they're on a movie set? They sit in a chair like this and they look at 3 TV sets. And you know it's the truth. Who can't look at 3 TV sets? Guys, we're trained for it. We're hardwired for that. But you know what? Directors. And you, who's ever buying the tapes, taking the class, you want to be a director too. And I don't blame you. To get that much fame and that much fortune for how little you do, and you still do a lot of work. I don't blame you either. So here's the oxymoron of the film industry. Every now and then, I want to get famous. So what I do every now and then is I hire a press agent. I hire a publicist. And I pay them a retainer to get me famous. Now, you're going to shoot a feature film. You're coming in with $200,000 to $300,000. When this film is done, who's going to get famous? The director. You're going to be out there as producer hustling another gig, aren't you? But the director's now famous. So you're actually paying the director to make them famous. I call that an oxymoron. So what do you think you have to pay somebody to make them famous? I don't care what Directors Guild says. I don't care what a director says. If they're in the guild, they don't want to get in trouble. All I know is it's my money. Here's $200,000, $300,000, and I'd like to make you famous. I'll give you $2,000 a week. And when the script and when the film's done, I'll pay you $2,000 a week. And when the film's done, who do you think's going to be on the panels at film festivals and film markets? It's going to be you. Nobody wants to hear from the producer anymore. So how much money do you think you really have to pay somebody to make them famous? And I don't care if they're in the guild or not. That's not your problem. Our bottom line is basically $2,000 a week is enough money to pay anybody to make them famous. So let's say you're doing a 35mm film, 3-week shoot. You want to hire a director. Pay the director $2,000 a week during a shoot. That's $6,000. About a month of pre-production. You want to give them $1,000 a week. That's overpaying, but give them $1,000 a week. That's about $10,000. That's about it. In post, they don't know what to do in post. The only reason we have a director come in post is the editor wants to know, why do we have a close-up of a clock ticking? Why'd you get that shot? They don't know what to do in post. $7,000 to $10,000. Paying a director $1,000 a week. $1,500 a week. Paying a director $1,500 a week will get you $5,000 to $7,000. I don't care about the Directors Guild. That's what you pay. And if a director's in the Directors Guild, you're allowed to hire them. You are allowed to hire them. Down here, you'll probably be at $7,000 to $10,000 on this shoot. What do you pay yourself up here, line item 1? Is there any guild protecting me against anybody? No. All the other guilds are out there to protect them against me. Who do I have protecting me, and I'm the one writing the checks? None. So what do I pay myself? What are you going to pay yourself? The technical phrase is the producer's fee. The film school theory stuff in those 4-year schools is pay yourself 10% of the budget. That ain't never going to happen. You think you're ever going to go to Warner Bros. Or Paramount, you don't even know how to buy film. You want to do a $2 million feature. You don't even know how to buy film, but you want a salary of $200,000. You think they do that. They never do that. So what do you give yourself for producer's fee? What you each got to figure out is when you make a film, even if it's a 1-week or 2-week shoot, you're going to be doing nothing but this thing for 4 months, 18 hours a day, even though the shoot's only going to be 1 or 2 weeks. So don't have this naive thought that you're just going to take 2 weeks off on summer vacation and shoot a movie, then go back to your day job. It's going to eat up every day for 4 months. And each one of you have a lifestyle. You have rent. You have a car payment. You're all different. So each one figure out what's your lifestyle. How much money do you need to subsist for a month? Then multiply by 4 months and put that in as your producer's fee. It's not going to be 10% of the budget. I doubt if it's 3%, probably closer to 2%. But all you put in is enough money so you don't go broke while you're making the film and somebody forecloses on the sprocket holes. Your producer's fee. Next, let's get down to script, our actors. The Screen Actors Guild has done a wonderful thing. The Screen Actors Guild doesn't have a low-budget agreement. The Screen Actors Guild has 5 different low-budget agreements, depending upon how low is low that you go. Now, their low-budget agreements, not agreement, one is called the low-budget agreement. The second one is called the modified low-budget agreement. The third one is the affirmative action low-budget agreement. The fourth one is called the LEA. That's the nickname for Limited Exhibition Agreement. And the fifth one is the Experimental Filmmakers Agreement. Going down to the LEA, if you sign, and to qualify, you got to be under, I forget the number, either $100,000 or $200,000 in your budget. So if you got to qualify and be under $200,000, you do your budget, and it's $262,000. And the guild asks to see your budget. What are you going to show them? Are you going to show them a sheet of paper that says $262,000? Or are you going to show them a peak? I'm not telling you what to do, anybody. Or are you going to show them a piece of paper that, I think you know what you're going to do. So you qualify for the limited exhibition agreement, means you can hire an actor for $100 a day. $100 a day, $100 a day, LEA. But you can mix and match also. Mix and match means if you're not in, the Screen Actors going to want to hire you. I don't have to pay you $100 a day. SAG doesn't care. But you're in SAG, I'll pay you $100 a day, $100 a day. The Experimental Filmmakers Agreement, you can pay an actor nothing, but they sort of have to be your partner in the film with you. I'd rather pay an actor $100 a day and I own the whole thing, rather than structuring something up in which they sort of have some power now, and I got to ask them for permission. So let's do Screen Actors Guild. We're going to shoot a feature film. It's going to be, we got $300,000, maybe $200,000. We're going to do a 35mm film, 3-week shoot. We're not going to sign with the Writers Guild. We're not going to sign with the Directors Guild. But you'll probably sign with the Screen Actors Guild on a low-budget agreement, but which one? The limited exhibition agreement at ballpark $100 a day. So actor number 1, $100 a day, $500 per week, 3-week shoot, $1,500. Actors number 2, a 2 weeks of the 3 weeks, $100 a day, $500 per week, 2 weeks, $1,000. So the star and co-star, $2,500. Actors 3, 4, and 5, when I schedule efficiently, I only need them for $500 a week, $500 a week. I need them for a week each, that's another $1,500. So actors 1 through 5 are $4,000. This is now above Blair Witch Project, which was 3 actors, 1 tent, 1 week, 10 days shooting schedule. So we're now $4,000 to $5,000. Then actors numbers 6, 7, and 8, if I schedule properly, need them for 3 days each, 100, 100, 100, 300, 300, 300, another 1,000. And actors 9 through 18, when I schedule and I only need you for 1 day, $100, show up, please show up on time. $6,000 to $8,000. You want to call it 6 to 10,000? Fine, you got some fluff. Guess what? Above the line's done now. Our budget. We're doing a relatively keep it simple script, 90-page script. We're shooting a $1 million feature. It's a 35mm film, 3-week shoot. We're signing only with one guild, more than likely the Screen Actors Guild, on a low budget agreement, but the one is limited exhibition agreement. And if we don't even want to do that, then I'll tell the actors go core. Claim financial core status, and I'll have the paperwork to explain that you actors are allowed to sign out of the guild for a week or a month and then do whatever you want. I think it's $200 to sign back in. Most of you actors that are in SAG don't even know you're allowed to do that. Tomorrow on Monday, call SAG and ask about financial core status and if you're allowed to sign out. And make them tell you you're allowed to do it. So guess what? Above the line is done now. It's $18,000 plus your producer's fee for whatever period of time at a low, to $27,000 plus our producer's fee at a little bit more. We're about to wrap up and take a break and then get into lesson number 4. Lesson number 4. What lesson number 4 is about is below the line, line items 5 through 12. Your vendor and equipment suppliers, buying film, your lab deal, your camera package, sound package, light package, dollies. And what I'm going to squeeze you into, here's what we're doing on our first feature film. You're a 90-page script, pretty close to a stage play. If you've got $200,000, $300,000, you've got enough money to shoot 35mm, you've got enough money to be a 2 to 3 week shoot, probably a 3-week shoot. A 3-week shoot is 18 shooting days, working Monday through Saturday. A 90-page script means divide 18 into 90 pages. You've got a shooting schedule of 5 pages per day with about 10 to 12 hours of shooting every day. So every 2 hours, we're going to get 1 page in the can, and we're going to get 1 page in the can with a master shot, 2 medium shots, a reaction shot, an over-the-shoulder shot, and a cat in the window shot, which on the lesson, when I teach you how to direct, I'll teach you how to get those shots. But you're going to get 25 to 35 shots per day. You got about 10 hours of shooting, although you're working for 14 hours. So that means you got about 20 minutes per shot. And to get that shot, I want key lighting, backlighting, and fill lighting, and I want camera movement. I assume the script's great, and I assume the actor's great. Let's go. That's how you make a movie. No fluff. When we come back from the break and we get into the next lesson, the subject will be vendor and equipment suppliers below the line. Thank you very much.